Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We'll discuss current affair of 16th June. Forward come kariye. Forward come kariye. Okay, first question is, arrange the following countries in ascending order of the Indian mercantile exports. Currently, India has record mercantile export, that is around 400 billion. Penta. Question is ascending order based on India's mercantile export to the respective countries. Mercantile export, recently we have record mercantile export of $400 billion, which is highest ever exports. So first country to which our mercantile export is highest, that is China, right? First is China, then UAE. We have signed comprehensive economic partnership agreement with UAE, right? Then third is United States of America, then Singapore. So first is China, so only two. So D is your answer. Mercantile exports that is maximum to China, and then to then UAE, then USA, then Singapore, right? So this is the serial. D is the answer. Okay, next question. Then India receives highest FDI equity. Highest FDI is coming from Singapore, then United States of America. A is the answer, right? Highest FDI is coming from Singapore, then United States of America, then Mauritius. So A, B, then will come Mauritius. A is the answer. Which of the following subsidies are considered to be a part of Amber Box subsidies? Amber Box subsidies means where WTO has control. For example, yes, minimum support price, that means that should be maximum subsidies should be less than 10%. Yes, this is right. One is under agreement Amber Box subsidies. Next, income support through PM Kisan and financial support through for agricultural universities to enhance research and development. These are not included in the Amber Box subsidies of WTO. According to WTO agreement, maximum we have to pay 10% of the subsidies of the input cost to the farmers. So A is the answer. Next, rest are blue box subsidies. Consider the following statements related to Indian agriculture. Gross capital formation of Indian agriculture is much higher than agriculture subsidies. No, gross capital formation of Indian agriculture is hardly 6% to 8%, right? 6%. It is now it is around 6%. So this is not much higher than the agriculture subsidies. So first statement is wrong. It is wrong. And second is more than 90% of the gross capital formation is done by the government. No, around 82% is done by the private sector. So the second statement is also wrong. Gross capital formation means total amount of physical assets in case of agriculture sector. Physical assets means suppose that somebody is purchasing a tractor, that's a physical assets in the agriculture sector, right? So this gross capital formation, it is one type of expenditure method. It is one type of expenditure method in calculating the GDP, in expenditure method in calculating GDP, right? In case of agriculture sector, we have 18% share of agriculture in our economy. So this is one type of expenditure method to calculate the GDP in agriculture. Gross capital formation in Indian agriculture is, it is so it is not, it is very low, that is reduced, it is reduced from 8% to 6% approximately in 2018 and 19. Second is the more than 90% of GCF is done by the government. No, 82-83% is done by the government. Mainly the private sector is investing in the gross capital formation. So both the statements are wrong here. Gross capital formation, I have said, it is the total amount of physical assets that are in agriculture, right? Remember, gross capital formation do not account depreciation, right? Depreciation is not included in the in gross capital formation. Depreciation means wear and tear of goods and goods. That means that is the depreciation mean after use a particular time, the value of a particular machine reduces, or the efficiency reduces because of wear and tear. That is called as depreciation. Depreciation is not calculated in the gross capital formation. Next. Okay. Which among the following agencies recently published Digital Payments Index? Digital Payments Index is published by Reserve Bank of India, right? Reserve Bank of India, it has taken 5 parameters to develop analyze the digitalization of India, right? It has taken 5 parameters to calculate the digitization of India, that is Digital Payments Index. It is started by RBI. Remember, it has taken the base year 2018 March is the base year for digitization, right? Base year for digitization by RBI. Okay. Next question. Next, we'll discuss some prelim facts. Then we'll come to BrahMos missile. Yes. Briefly, we'll discuss some prelim facts. Yes. Web fast. Yes. Web 5.0. What is Web 5.0? Web 1.0 is the read-only internet made in the static web pages. That means you can only read. Web 2.0 is a read and write in internet. You can also write in the internet. That is in Web 2.0. Users were able to communicate with servers and other users, leading to creation of social web. Right? You can also write in the internet. This is World Wide Web that we used, that is Web 2.0. More centralized and focused user-created content. That is use of Facebook. You can write in Facebook whatever you want. You can write in Facebook. This is coming under Web 2.0. Initially, when Facebook and social medias were not there, then the system was especially Web 1.0, where only those people who are developing a particular sites, they can write. Okay. Web 3.0, it is an evolving term. It refers to next generation read, write, execute internet with decentralization as its bedrock. It leverages the use of blockchain technology. It is based on blockchain technology, where people can interact with each other without the need of an intermediary. Web 3.0 will be driven by artificial intelligence, machine learning, where machines will be able to interpret like information like humans. Okay, what is this Web 3.0? This is a new concept developing in case of science and technology. For example, to communicate, we are using WhatsApp or Facebook or Twitter or something like that. But after the development of blockchain technology or artificial intelligence, we do not need even Facebook to contact to one or other person. Maybe we will not need also bank. Suppose I have to send money to you, then I have to go through the banking channel. I will send it particularly, for example, I will send to ICICI Bank. Suppose my bank account is in ICICI. I will send from my account to ICICI. ICICI will send to SBI, and SBI will send to you. So I have going through two intermediaries, and that data is also taking the, those data is also shared with the RBI repository. So all these things are happening. There is many intermediaries in this sending money, or I am going via phone pay. Suppose I am using another intermediary, that is PhonePe, to send you money. But after the development of blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, maybe I will not need any of these intermediaries to send money to you or directly, or if I want to send some some data or suppose a photo I have to send you, a pic I have to send you, then I will not need any such type of intermediaries. So this may be the Amazon, Facebook, or Flipkart. These all things will not be unnecessary after the development of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. That is what we call as Web 3.0, and that will be more decentralized. More decentralized means we can see the word, we can read, write, and execute. Execute means what we are doing. Suppose you are sending a mail, you are writing and you are sending, but the execution is done by the Gmail, right? You are not done. The execution of that sending is done by the WhatsApp. It is not by you. But in Web 3.0, it will be done by you yourself. That will be more secure because that is decentralized. Decentralized means there is no central authority, and that is also block based on, that is what we call as blockchain technology. Because blockchain technology, they are decentralized technology, there is no control authority, and it is highly secure, extremely secure, and they are end-to-end encrypted. End-to-end encrypted means it is almost impossible to hack blockchain technology. If I am sending you a message, then if anybody hacks blockchain technology at present time, whatever information we have till now, that will block the whole blockchain system, right? Because blockchain system is based like this. This is connected to this, right? And also this is connected to this. If this doesn't work, then this will not work. And because if this block will not work, then third block will not work. As each block is connected to other block regarding its functioning. So if one gets hacked, the nearby block that also get hacked, it will not work, because that is based on the functioning of the previous block. So in this chain, whole chain will be dysfunctional if any type of security breach happens. So this is extremely secure, and that is what we call as Web 3.0. This is the developing things. Then Web 5.0, what is this Web 5.0? It is Web 2.0 plus Web 3.0 that will allow users to own their identity. Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 allow users to own their identity on the internet and control their data. That means if presently if we have some data in Facebook that is stored in United States or in European countries or in Singapore, but that is not in case in India. So what in Web 5.0, whatever data we have, that will be stored by us, and that is the prominent things we are undergoing now, because data privacy is the biggest challenge, one of the biggest focus area of all the major countries and the organizations on the governments, because data privacy, that these data are being misused in various ways. Maybe they are shaping the political ideologies, and also they are controlling the economy, right? And that is, as that privacy is a fundamental right, data privacy is also a fundamental right according to K. Puttaswamy judgment of Supreme Court. So in case of India, that is under Article 21 of protection life and personal liberty. So Government of India is also focusing on data localization, right? Although it is not at present time, we cannot ensure that full control of data by individuals, because we do not have that much of technology. But government is trying by the recommendations of BNC Krishna committee is bringing a data protection bill to at least ensure data localization. That means whatever data we are using, that will be stored inside India, that will not go outside India, because that will be susceptible to various data frauds and other online transactions. This data frauds may happen. So Web 5.0 is Web 2.0 plus 1 will allow users to own their identity on the internet and control their data. It is being developed by former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin business unit, that is the Blockhead. Developed by former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin business unit, the Blockhead, that is being developed by Web 2.5.0 is developed by the Blockhead. It aims at building an extra decentralized web that puts you in control of data and identity. Control of data and identity. So at the same time, you will use those social media platforms, and also you will control your data, and then there will not be a third person who will have the power to control your data. At present, whatever we see in the social media network, that is not decided by us. That is decided by somebody else who is controlling these news feeds. On the basis of that, it is mobilizing its political interest and economic interest. So, but after in 5.0, that will be done by artificial intelligence based on our choice. We will see it next. It aims at building an extra decentralized web that puts you under control your data and identity. It is built with an aim to return ownership of data and identity to the individuals. To return the ownership of data and identity to the individuals that is taken by the digital age. It is said that in the digital age, there is a proverb, digital age privacy is a myth. But now that is going to be restored by Web 5.0, and with modern developments, such type of in every country, G7 and every BRICS, everywhere they are talking about data privacy. That is one of the biggest. That is the biggest thing, because so far as the power is concerned, that is now shifted to such industrialists or social media owners or social media CEOs as compared to the political power. So this, because there has been the power of Facebook and power of Twitter has become very significant in deciding in determining the government, right? So government do not want to lose their power. Those politicians and the executive and the especially governments of the world, they do not want to transfer their power from their control to the social media giants, right? Who are ultimately, many times they are not adhering to the norms of the sovereign government. For example, recently few months ago, there is a issue with Facebook, right? Ravi Shankar Prasad has been issuing various directions to the Twitter, and nobody was there to obey it, right? So they are continuously violating, and also they are restricting the freedom of speech, because they are arbitrarily they are deleting the account of some people, and their such type of activities. There is no so clear-cut transparency in which way, on which case a particular person's account will be suspended or not. Such type of activities are done by the social media giants, and they are controlling. As they are controlling the sovereign governments, also the governments now they want to give the rights to the individual itself, so that no third country or a particular businessman or the CEO of a particular social media app should have any control regarding the political ideologies of the people or the permission of the sovereign government. Okay, difference between Web 3.0 and Web 5.0. The Web 3.0 and 5.0 envision an internet without censorship from the government or big tech. Without censorship, right? They should not control, the government should not control a social media platform, neither social media platform will control its members, right? Somebody, suppose for example, somebody has 1 million followers on Twitter, and suddenly without any prescribed guidelines, suppose Twitter is suspending his or her account, that means Twitter is violating. It is not respecting the individual right to free speech, right? It is violation of free speech. So that is the issue. It is not truly decentralized or owned by users. Web 3.0 is not truly decentralized or owned by users, although it is based on blockchain technology. No single entity owns the information. Decentralization, the data is distributed across the networks. It is distributed. It is not owned by the user, right? It is when the Web 3.0 is based on blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, that is decentralized. That is, user do not have the power. But in case of 5.0 it is truly decentralized, and data and identity is owned by the user itself. That is the advanced stage, that is the summation of Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. So that is Web 5.0, that's what we say, right? That is because that is 2.0 plus 3.0. It is not fifth generation, it is 2.0 plus 5.0, that's why it is called as Web 5.0. If you have written it in generation wise, then generally it would have been your 4.0. As it is the summation, then that is why it is Web 5.0. Gives only control of your data, right? A particular individual will have only rights over his own data. It will not have any rights over the other people. Give control of your own data as well as your identity. So this is identity, control of your own data and identity. This is Web 5.0. So this is more comprehensive and more secure as compared to the Web 3.0. IMCCS report on decarbonizing defense agencies. So this is complete. This issue is completed here. Next is IMCCS report on decarbonizing of defense agencies. The International Military Council on Climate and Security has released a report on the need to decarbonize the defense agencies across the world. Decarbonizing the defense agency across the world, right? We will see decarbonization because we are facing the problem of climate change everywhere. So the climate change, the world is facing the grave problem of climate change, and so far as climate change is concerned, every institution, every individual, every small institution also must start their decentralized effort to counter this, right? As where it is decentralized efforts means rather than only depending on the government, that the government and the international relation they only work against the climate change. Every individual every institution can also take some steps to counter the climate change. For example, changing our behavior, reducing our energy consumption, or planting of trees. If every individual will start planting trees, then what will happen? Government will not have to worry about so much thing, because most of the countries are developing countries. They do not have the money to invest huge amount of money in such environmental sector. Neither they have technologies. In developing countries, they do not have developed technology, so that in case of industrialization, the emission will be less. In such a situation, every small organization, they have to contribute certain things, or they have to work in certain levels regarding making their institution at least carbon neutral, right? If all the households will work to make their household carbon neutral, that means whatever the energy you are producing, what the energy you are consuming, right? At least you should plant that much of trees, so that will be for example, that will be your house should be the carbon neutral. If every house and every institution will be carbon neutral, then we can achieve carbon neutrality. So rather than depending on the government waiting for the government to change dramatically regarding our fossil fuel, it will take a long time. India has placed by 2070 will achieve carbon neutrality, right? So if there is strong effort by the civil society and every organization and every individual, we can achieve that target much before that, right? Okay, but for that a huge scale of awareness is essential, and large number of people must come forward to do this. That's why it is okay. This one such institution has taken steps. The Russia-Ukraine war has re-exposed the risks and vulnerabilities and potential interventions that could have adopted for greener military operations. Yes, it has the Russia-Ukraine war against it has against the various climate effects, because huge amount of use of there is various bloods and devastations, use of military weapons there obviously they produce very toxic gases. The risk posed by climate change towards the security is realized by the security of foreign policies body across the world. Yes, another thing is security of foreign policies body across the world. There is no security, there is no global governance, right? Anytime from any institution, a big industry or a developed country may came out of, right? USA may at any time USA may came out of any particular agency, or they will not fund the particular agency. Russia can also do the same thing because they are already doing like that, right? So in such a situation, you cannot trust the word or the commitment of a developed country, that what they will do in future, whether in terms of funding or in terms of technology transfer to counter the climate change. We cannot trust any organization or any international body, right? Next, the world defenses are dominated by the use of fossil fuels. Yes, defenses, these defenses, they are dominated by the fossil fuels. This serve as a efficient means to operate the forces across the world. To operate the forces across the world, they are using fossil fuels, and that causes huge amount of carbon emission. Military fuel consumption poses a problem in terms of operations and involves high expenses. It involves high expenses and dependence on external supplies, right? Military expenses, they are producing huge amount of carbon and dependent. The expenses are very high because there are so many helicopters, there are so many machines, they are dependent on external suppliers. Also, you are dependent on other countries, we are dependent on Arab countries, we are dependent on the Russia, right? The IMCCS plan recommended high technology innovations such as use of biofuel and could help shift to low carbon alternatives, thus evolving the modernization process. So the defense industries, the defense sector must be modernized to use high technology innovations so that we can use non-conventional energy or like biofuel. Like biofuel, they have to shift to non-conventional energy. Like, see, in every dimension we have to work. We cannot ignore that. Only defense industry will ignore. Only in case of individuals will go for electrical bikes, electric bikes or electric cars. So no, we have also high military technologies. They are using these fossil fuels, and they also need to be upgraded so that they can run with biofuel or solar or by any non-conventional energy. The International Military Council and Security, Climate Security is a group of senior military leaders, security experts from the governmental and non-governmental sectors. They are senior military officers and security officers from governmental and non-governmental sectors and security institutions across the globe. It's dedicated to anticipating, analyzing and addressing the security risk in the changing climate. The security risk, we have to also think about the environment, because every year millions of people are dying because of the environmental pollution, right? And the climate change, because of climate change, it has aggressively increased in recent years, and that is creating a huge problem from the coastal states and the island nations, and that is also inducing migration towards other countries, and migration creates many socio-economic problems. Okay, it was launched in 2019 as a response to growing demand from the military professionals for sharing information and best practices on addressing the security and military dimensions of climate change. So addressing the security and military dimensions of climate change, right? It is a job of International Military Council on Climate Security. It was founded by the Center for Climate Security (CCS) and Institution of Council of Strategic Risk, the French Institution for the International and Strategic Affairs (IRIS), the Hague Center for Strategic Studies, the Planetary Security Initiative of the Netherlands Institute of International Relations, that is Klingendale, right? So these the IMCCS. This is founded by these organizations to addressing the security risk in the climate change. Next, the IMCCS is administered by the CCS. It consists of entities, that is IMCCS leadership, IMCCS expert group, IMCCS institutional partners. Which report? The report is IMCCS expert group has been publishing annual and biannual World Climate and Security Report. World Climate and Security Report. See, these new reports are important because UPSC is going deep and deep. So biennial World Climate Security Report, it is released by IMCCS. The report is a global assessment of security risk in changing climates. Assessment of security risk in changing climate and recommendations addressing them. Okay, next topic is amyloidosis. Amyloidosis, right? Amyloidosis. This is a disease, that is former Pakistan general is suffering from amyloidosis. Amyloid is an abnormal protein. Amyloid, it is an abnormal protein. Remember, amyloid is an abnormal protein which is not normally found in the body, but can be formed by several different types of proteins. It is a protein. Amyloid is a protein. It can form from several different types of protein. Amyloidosis is a rare disease that occurs when amyloid builds up once in one organs. When amyloid builds up in one organs, affecting their shape and functioning, that is called as amyloidosis. Deposits can build up throughout one's body. It can be built up throughout one's body or in just one area like the heart, brain, kidneys and spleen and other parts of the body, and they may affect those parts of the body. So it is especially it is a protein that is created by various protein and that builds up in one organs, right? So it just above the organ, if it is builds up, then that affects the functioning of that organ. It may affect various organs of the body. That is suffered by former Pakistan general. That's why it is in news. Okay, types of amyloidosis. The type of protein where it collects. Tell the type of amyloidosis has bottom of form. Light chain. Okay, what are the types? First is light chain amyloidosis is the most common type of in developed countries which can affect kidney, spleen, heart and other organs. That is light chain AL amyloidosis. That is light chain amyloidosis. It is the most prevalent, most common type in developed countries. Then people with conditions such as multiple myeloma or bone marrow illness are more likely to have AL amyloidosis, that is light chain. So those who have multiple myeloma or bone marrow illness, there are chances that they will suffer from AL amyloidosis. This starts from in plasma cells within the bone marrow. Within the bone marrow, it starts from plasma cells. Plasma cells create antibodies with both heavy chain and light chain proteins. The plasma cells undergo abnormal changes. They produce excess light chain protein so that can end up in the bloodstream. So this excess light chain proteins, they will deposit in the bloodstream, and these damaged protein bits can accumulate in the body's tissues and damage the vital organs. They accumulate such as heart, right? These excess proteins will be created and they will be accumulate in the blood tissues and damage the vital organs such as the heart, right? Amyloidosis or secondary amyloidosis is a condition that is a result of another chronic infectious or inflammatory disease such as rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, right? Another chronic infectious or inflammatory diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, which presently do not have any such proper cure, and Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. The A refers to amyloid type of A protein that causes it. Amyloid type A protein that causes it, that is the position of the proteins among over a particular organ and that affects that particular organ. Okay, dialysis related amyloidosis is common type in older adults and people who have been dialysis for more than 5 years. They also suffer from dialysis related amyloidosis and affects the kidney more and more. This form of amyloidosis is caused by deposits of beta 2 microglobin that build up in the blood. Beta 2 microglobin that build up in the blood. The deposits can build up in many different tissues, but the most commonly affects the bones, joints and tendons. So that can cause rheumatoid arthritis because it joints on the bones and it forms over the bones and the joints. Then transthyretin amyloidosis can be inherited from family member and inherited from a family member, right? So maybe it may be genetic and is hence commonly referred as familial amyloidosis. It can transmit to the next generation as well. Then transthyretin is a protein that also known as pre-albumin made in the liver. Transthyretin, that is also known as pre-albumin made in liver. As such, this often affects the liver, nerves, heart, kidneys and many genetic defects that are linked to higher chances of amyloid disease. So various types of protein. These are one type of proteins. The deposit over various organs and also bones usually they are created excess creation of these proteins inside bone marrow. So those people who are affecting in any disease of bone marrow, they maybe get affected more by amyloidosis, and also this will deposit over a particular organ or bone or joints, and that may create rheumatoid arthritis and may cause the dysfunctions of many organs of the health. Next, industrialization and colonization complemented each other in establishing British supremacy across the globe. British supremacy across the globe, and that how it is complemented by the industrialization colonization, right? So underline these important keywords, that is, first we have to write the British supremacy, and second how industrialization has facilitated it and how colonization has facilitated it. So what is industrialization? Industrialization refers to emergence of machine-based production. Emergence of machine-based production using inanimate power. It is the actual definition of industrialization. Inanimate power, that is machine. Machine will produce, that is industrialization. Resources like steam and electricity. First steam engine has created, that started the industrialization. Right? What is colonization? Colonization, is the other hand, refers to practice of acquiring colonies by conquest or by other means, by using them to serve as own economic and political interest. The first wave of colonization during the age of exploration was dominated by the countries like Spain, Portugal, but the second wave finally started from the Industrial Revolution. Britain emerged as the numero uno amongst the colonies. So Britain has maximum colonized. It has colonized a lot of the countries. Why? Especially to gain economic interest. Colonization is basically acquiring a territory, acquire the political power of a territory to exploit it economically, right? That is the meaning of colonization. In industrialization means it refers to inanimate power of production, that it may be by a machine, right? Industrialization lead to emergence of new ideas. Yes, emergence of new ideas came to the society. Modernization came to the society. English education came to society. Urbanization has created, and because of urbanization, many blind beliefs they had got reduced, and Renaissance developed, right? Scientific ideas developed, rationalization has developed, increase the scale of production. Yes, higher increase of scale of production increases, so various goods came to the market, economical development happened, but that economic development primarily developed that is served for the purpose of the colonial country, that is for the British, not for the India, not for the colonies. It is this type of industrialization that is generally in the interest of the colonial power, not in the interest of the colonies, because in case of India, a continuous drain of wealth around $45 trillion at present time. $45 trillion has been taken by the British in terms of drain of wealth, right? So huge drain of wealth happened in case of $45 trillion, and that is a huge amount. How it happened? It happened by this mercantilized exports of the raw materials from colonies like India, and also in terms of home charges, or in terms of the salaries of the officials, and also in case of various duties regarding Indian exports. All these things that led to drain of wealth, a huge amount of money from a developing country like India, it has taken by the British, right? And development of modern equipment, this led to development of modern equipment, starting of industrialization. Now at present time, those countries which are industrialized countries are the rich countries. Their lifestyle is much better than us compared to the developing countries which are suffering from various problems like malnutrition or poverty or lack of basic amenities. Improvement in transportation and communication. All this type of provided disproportionate advantage to British or colonizing powers to lead to expansion on its territory. Improvement of transportation and communication, right? Telegraph, and for example telegraph or railways, in case of Indian railways, that is primarily developed to serve the British interest to transport those goods and services from the hinterland to the ports, and that will increase the mercantile exports of the raw materials from India to US, and also the industrialized goods to bring from the ports to the hinterland and to sell in the markets, and that to destabilize our indigenous economies and to destruction of the indigenous industries, right? Because the industrialized goods are in high in production and also they are low in price, right? That's why that has destructed the indigenous economy, and the artisans who are earlier producing various goods and services, they become agricultural labor or industrial labor. And at that time the industrial labor there was very cheap labor, so the profit of the capitalism is very high, right? A particular labor will work only in that price by which it will survive. It is the lowest price, and they are working more than 12 hours a day without any holiday. After the Factory Acts 1882, then women and children below women were given one holiday per day. So there is no social security schemes. There are only exploitation of the labor in the name of capitalism. That's why the production is very huge, and the capitalists were become very rich, right? In this way they were exploiting the cheap labor available in the colonies. With more colonies under this control, it was able to satiate the demand of raw material from the industries and take raw material from the industries to back at home. As industries grew, more and more raw materials were needed to feed those industries. More and more raw material were needed to feed those industries. Obviously, industrial expansion, the demand of raw material increased, and they exploited the colonies. India and Egypt were good sources of cotton. Congo and East Indies rubber and other products such as were food, grains, tea, coffee, indigo, tobacco and sugar, right? Indigo revolution happened in Europe, right? There is the slaves, they fight against their masters, and the cultivation of indigo stopped. And after the Britishers, they started developing indigo cultivation in India. The cultivation of indigo was of much higher quality as compared to the indigo of other countries. So such type of plantation agriculture, right? Commercial agriculture crop are also developed in the colonies, like cotton, right? Like cotton, indigo, tobacco, coffee, tea, sugar, grain, right? They are tea, sugar and food grains as well. They started developing in India and Egypt and in Congo. To obtain this, it was necessary to change the pattern of production in the countries where they could be grown. Thus, colonists forced the cultivation of only one of the two crops which they needed as raw materials for their industries. The colonies forced the cultivation of only one of the two crops which they needed as raw materials for their industries. Later, with augmented scale of production, domestic markets got saturated and surplus was diverted towards the colonies like India and turning them to markets. So the colonies, they becomes the market of the British industrial goods, and the people started purchasing them because of the low price of the industrialized goods. And initially they have also applied various market tactics, for example predatory pricing, reducing the price of goods very low, so that the indigenous industries, they got destructed, and they got, also automatically they got destructed because there was no people to buy them. With inexorable pace of industrialization, aided by the raw material, manpower per labor, army from the colonies, Britain established the Pax Britannica. That means it has established throughout India, throughout the world, it has gained its power by the raw materials from the developing countries and the chief manpower and the army, right, from the colonies, right? They established army in those colonies and taken from money from themselves and paid to themselves. So they have established Pax Britannica. Okay. Conclusion. The domination was not confined only to the political, economic and military sphere. British culture, language, educational, administrative structure too enjoyed global prominence. Yes, even today we see some British culture in our administrative procedure, right? The rule of law and also the parliamentary procedure. We have inherited various British principles in their or administrative structure in India as well. And many people also, there is colonial hangover is still there. Some laws made by the colonial power also exist even today. Even our police, even our IPC, CRPC, all are from during the British colonies. The domination was not confined only to the political, economic, military sphere. British culture, language, educational and administrative structure also engaged. Right now we are using English language because that is one of the official language in case of India, because of India is one of the colonies of the British, right? So this is regarding British colonization. So far as cultural power is also, for example, just in Commonwealth, when Commonwealth game happens, we have to the masal is also that is celebrated in every colonies, right? That is one type of soft power of the British government. Okay, so the discussion is completed. Thank you. Like this video and share this video.